Hello. Hi, everyone. Hello, Miss Eleanor Sanctuary. How are you? I had you in my mind today for whatever reason. Well, I know why I was thinking about you. It was just so like, okay. Hi, everyone. Good evening. How are you? Coming in. Hello, TikTok family, YouTube, and Facebook family. What's going on, people? Oh, Lord. It's been a long week, but thank God for strength. It's been a long week. It's been a long week. Woo! Omo Hi, everyone. Come on in. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. If you're just joining us for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome to our platform of immigration talk every Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8:30 Central Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I had court yesterday, and then today I had court in the morning, and I had to go see clients in the jail later in the afternoon because I have a criminal to report next week. So it was, yeah, it was okay. Productive. Let me put it that way. Productive. One of my clients had his bond revoked, which basically means he's going to be sitting in jail for a while. Yeah. So you win some, you lose some. It is what it is. Hi, everyone. Come on in. Say hello when you come on. Like I said, if this is the first time you're joining us, we welcome you. This is a positive platform where we discuss all things immigration and also encourage one another in our personal lives, in our cases, whatever the case may be. We laugh, we rejoice with one another, we encourage, we pray, all good things, everything good. So this is attorney 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. I'm an immigration attorney based in Alabama, representing immigration clients in all 50 states. Got an immigration case. If it's a case stuff that I do, that we can represent you regardless of the state you are based in. Okay, so unless you're on the rock, but hopefully you've come across one of our social media pages. But if not, please follow, like, share, subscribe, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram at Olalea Immigration, 334-341-4475, olalealawfirm.com, info at olalealawfirm.com. We would be honored and glad to represent you guys in your immigration case. If you're just joining us, the normal procedure is we talk about whatever topic we're talking about. We don't have questions tonight. I have just very short topic to talk about tonight. But put your questions in the comment section, and then I get to questions, as many questions as possible at the end of the topic discussion. So that's how it goes. Anyway, let's jump right in. Once again, welcome. Ekabosorito. Why? Y'all know when I'm trying to say Yoruba language, eh? Why? I think so, right? Why? Something along those lines. Along those lines. Hello, Miss Tina. How are you? You're welcome. All right, let's jump right in. So, what are we talking about tonight? Real quick, because I've seen a whole lot of this topic. Is, I think if you're on any of the platforms, you should have the topic on the screen. I'm right. Okay, thank you. You can tell I'm struggling like for real in FGGC Akure. I graduated in Yoruba language. Take it or leave it. Although nobody marked paper, so just let's leave it alone. Citizenship and pending I-751. Citizenship and okay, see, I'm trying. Citizenship and pending I-751. So real quick, let's just address this issue. I'm seeing a lot of recurring consults about this, and people are not, and some people still don't know that you actually can become eligible to file for citizenship while you still have the removal of conditions pending and there's no decision. So let's start with that. If you have a 2-year green card and you have a pending I-751 petition, which is the petition you filed to go from a 2-year green card to your 10-year green card, can you file? First question, does the time that you spent on as a conditional resident, does it count towards your number of years as a green card holder to qualify for citizenship? Short answer, it does. The fact that you're a conditional resident does not mean that you're not a legal permanent resident. You are a legal permanent resident. The only thing is you are you don't have the 10-year green card. You've got a 2-year green card, but you are a legal permanent resident, albeit conditional. When you go from a 2-year green card and you get your 10-year green card, when your 10-year green card, the resident since dates will reflect the date on your original 2-year green card. Whatever that resident since date on your 2-year green card is the same date that will transfer into your 10-year green card or onto your 10-year green card and count towards the number of years that you have been a legal permanent resident. So the time you spend as a conditional resident counts towards the time it's part of you being a legal permanent resident that counts towards when you become eligible for citizenship. That's number one. Number two, when you have your 751 pending, are you eligible to file for citizenship? Even though there hasn't been a decision on your 751 yet. Yes, as long as you are qualified on one of the bases that you can file for citizenship on. So the fact that USCIS has not made a decision on your 751 does not mean that you have to wait for them to make a decision on that before you can file for citizenship. In fact, many people, if you guys recall, this was January, I want to say it was January 2023, give or take January 2023. That's when USCIS went from, at some point in 2022, they went from 18 months extension notice to 24 months. And then as of January last year, then they went from 24 months to 48 months extension for I-751. Reason behind it is because I-751 petitions are taking years. Some of my clients have been lucky. We've had some approved in less than a year without interviews, but most of those cases are being either scheduled for interview or just really backlogged when it comes to 751. And so because of that, people were always having to go and get the I-551 stamp in their passport. In order to reduce the amount of people having to make appointments, USCIS decided to now start doing the 48-month extension, which is a 4-year extension notice for that it extends your 2-year green card for another 4 years until they make a decision in your 751. Given that, people are now filing citizenship applications so that it kind of like indirectly moves your 751 along. The way that happens is citizenship applications are being scheduled rather quickly, especially depending on the state you live in and your field office. I've had citizenship applications be scheduled in 30 days after filing, and I've had some take up to 6 months. Just depends on how backlogged your field office is. So whenever you have your citizenship application scheduled, and because how quickly they're scheduling those, what I do in my firm is when we have an interview date in the citizenship application, then we send a copy of the 751 file to the field office, letting them know, hey, we've got the 751 pending. You guys cannot adjudicate the citizenship application without having to approve the petition to remove the conditions in your residency. That's got to be approved before you can get your citizenship, unless you are in the military. If you're a member of the military, your 751 does not have to be adjudicated. You can actually go from a 2-year green card and file a citizenship application straight up without a 751 if you are in the military. Other than that, everybody has to file a 751. So we send a copy of the 751 file to the field office, letting them know, hey, we're coming in for a citizenship application interview, but we need you to also adjudicate this. And so that is a way you can actually get your 751 adjudicated at the same time. Most of the time, if your citizenship application is granted, USCIS adjudicates the 751, and then they schedule for oath ceremony, approve the 751, but most of the time they will not send you the 10-year green card if you are going to be placed in line for oath ceremony, because it defeats the whole purpose if you're going to become a citizen. So at what point can you now file for your citizenship? Having clarified now that the time you spend on as a conditional resident counts towards your time as a legal permanent resident, having clarified now that yes, when you have a pending 751, you are still eligible, you're still in status, and that makes you eligible to file for citizenship. Then the next question is, at what point do you not file for citizenship? It will depend on the basis, meaning the ground on which you are filing. If you're filing for citizenship based on the fact that you're still married to your citizens, you have a citizen spouse, you're still in marital union with that spouse has been a citizen for at least 3 years, then you can file for citizenship based on being a legal permanent resident for at least 3 years. That 3-year period includes the time you have been a conditional resident. So if you look at it, basically, everybody, by the time you're filing your 751, every petitioner has at least 2 years as a legal permanent resident. The next question is, are you waiting an additional 1 year, or are you waiting another additional 3 years, depending on your ground? So if you are filing citizenship based off of, and I'm talking about people who are on conditional resident. Now, if you had your 10-year green card through VA case, obviously you're not getting the conditional residency card. But if you have a pending 751, that's what we're talking about tonight. So everyone who has a 751, at some point, you already have accrued 2 years as a legal permanent resident because you already have the 2-year green card. If you're not filing based off of being a spouse of a citizen, and that person has been a citizen for 3 years, then you are eligible for citizenship after 1 year since your 751 has been pending, total of 3 years. If your spouse is a green card holder, or you're no longer in marital union with that citizen spouse, meaning at the time you file your 751, you guys are not together anymore, then you would have to wait 5 years. So that means you have to be a legal permanent resident for at least 5 years, counting the 2 years as a conditional resident. So that means additional 3 years or additional 1 year, depending on the basis on which you are filing for citizenship. So yes, you can file for citizenship while your I-751 is pending. Yes, the time you are on the 2-year green card counts towards the total eligibility period for which you can file for citizenship. And depending on your basis, meaning your basis for qualification for eligibility, being married to a citizen, or you're no longer married to a citizen, then you've been divorced, that would determine whether you file for citizenship based off of being 3 years as a legal permanent resident or 5 years as a legal permanent resident, depending on your specific situation. So I hope that helps to clarify, because I know people are like, okay, when can I file? And I've had people file for citizenship much earlier than they should, and then they get denied, and they're wondering, okay, what happened? Yes, you've got to make sure that, and it's not about how long you've been married. And I think I did a video last week about that. It doesn't matter how long you've been married to the person. It's about how long you've been a legal permanent resident. That's what if we need 2-year green card, how long ago, Nia? That's how to calculate that. If all else fails, look at your 2-year green card and the date on it that says resident since. That's the operative date that you have to now start counting either your 3 years or your 5 years from. Obviously, everybody knows you can file for citizenship 90 days before the 30th anniversary or the 50th anniversary. And yes, go ahead and put in those naturalization applications. If you've got your I-751 that is still pending, be sure you know what your eligibility ground is before you file, so you're not just filing a meritless application. That's all sure, people. Straight to the point, right? Okay. All right. And so I hope that helps to clarify things for anyone who is in that situation. All righty. So let's see how many questions we can take on tonight. Thank you, Ms. Ellen Zachary. Let's see how many questions. Let's put our extra eyes on. Okay. And if you're just joining us, welcome in. This is Attorney Abisola Adebola Olale, immigration attorney based in Alabama, representing immigration clients in all 50 states. Even if you live in a state that we don't know U.S. has acquired yet, as long as the U.S. states and territory, yes. All right. That's good to know, Miss Tina. Okay. My mom was denied twice and was later approved. Me and my siblings are now scheduled for an interview. So we go to the interview with our stepdad or by ourselves. I would suggest, disclaimer, any responses to questions, general information, nothing specific to nobody's case. If you want anything, if you need information that's specific to your case, then we can do a proper paid consultation. But this is just general information. So, Emma needs to see lawyer. Oh, I think my this is dry. Cannot be ashy. But it's not stop peeling. Oh, it's not moisturizing. Hey T. So I would suggest that you go with, well, how old are you? I guess let me start from there, but depending on your age. But I would still suggest you go with your mom. And if you're minors, then I'll definitely you want to go with your mom. If your stepdad is available to go with you guys, then I will suggest you guys all go together. At least let the what's it called? The immigration officer, the adjudicating officer, see that you guys came as a family. You're still a family unit. That it's usually very helpful. And if they decide they don't need your mom or your stepdad to come in, then that's fine. At least you appear there at the interview all together as a family. That's what I would recommend. Okay. Used attorney for 751. Should I use attorney for N400? That's up to you. I mean, you're asking an attorney, should you use an attorney for an immigration case? Obviously, I'm going to say yes. It doesn't mean you can file it yourself, but whenever you've got a 751 pending, my suggestion will always be to use an attorney. I had a client who we represent on the 751, and which was approved, but rather than they wanted to cut costs, okay, and decided to file the N400 on their own, got scheduled for an interview. By the time they got there, they weren't sure of what to actually state, the ground by which we had converted from a joint petition to a self-petition. Long story short, they denied the N400 because based on the basis on which they were granted the 751, which they completely just botched. By the time I spoke with him, he was like, well, I didn't have the money. Like, well, now you got to pay all over again. And now you've wasted the whole. So my point is, it's best for you to just stick with a lawyer. Don't try to save money at this point. This is not the time you want to start to now cut corners. It's not going to pay you at the end. Just my 2 cents. Can you get a working permit while your U visa is pending for approval? Yes. I lost my green card. Applied for a new one. What would be the next line? Days. What would be the timeline? Anything about timeline? Please go on USCIS.gov/processing times. Can you file a 212C waiver for a client? I don't do that. Greetings. Feelings on DACA and its future. We are hopeful that we'll just see. And I think a big part of that will depend on who comes in next. If Biden stays as president, there's hope. If he who shall remain nameless comes back in, hell, what is going to change? Let's just put it that way. What city are you in, Alabama? Demopolis. It's closer to Mississippi. It's it's gonna bother my brain. It's about an hour from Tuscaloosa. That is the next bigger city that I can think of. I submitted I-589 in November and I don't have clock. Do you think I can file my work permit after 150 days? What do you mean you don't have clock? Your time starts to count from when USCIS receives it. So what do you mean you don't have clock? I'm not sure I understand your question. How will I know if I pass the interview if the medical is pending? How will you know if you pass the interview? Well, if they send you an RFE for the medical and you sent it in and your case is still not been decided on, I guess you at that point it just means it's still under review. Just on the USCIS website that my I-131 case is closed. Can you tell me what? I cannot. I can read minds and guess what went wrong with your case. I-130 based marriage taking more than 2 years in national. You mean national visa standard? That's normal. It's not like it's normal, but it's not unusual given the backlog. Can we travel out of the country with approval notice, not physical green card yet? If you already have your green card approved, then there's no reason why you shouldn't wait to get the green card itself before you leave the country. I'm not really sure what the hurry will be. That would be what I would suggest to you. 2 years green card holder can 2 years green card holder can be my joint sponsor in marriage-based green card. 2 years green card holder can. Okay. Mazen, can you rephrase your question? I don't understand what you're asking. Let's see. Thank you, Jamia. Let's see. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. VAL just got approved. How long will the green card process take? Filed concurrently. Congratulations on your VAL approval. And as far as how long it's going to take, it's still relative. USCIS.gov/present will give you that. But even if you was filed concurrently, you still have to, like USCIS actually put in on their website that what do you look at your I-360 processing time or the I-485? Keeping in mind that the fact that you filed it concurrently doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be approved at the same time, because the 485 is not, unlike a regular marriage case where it's adjudicated concurrently with an I-130. With a VA case, the VA case has to be approved first before they even touch your 485. The only thing your 485 is helping you do when your VA case is pending is to apply for a work permit and advance parole. So I can tell you what I've seen in my firm. Based on what I've seen, it can take anywhere from 4 months, depending on the field office still, and depending on two things. Number one, if they're going to send your case to the field office for interview. When Vermont Service Center is done with the VAR approval, they send the file to the National Benefit Center. National Benefit Center, they have people who look into your file. If there is something in your file that makes them question whether or not you're going to be admissible, then that is a kind of case that will be scheduled for an interview. Keep in mind, most cases for most related I-485 usually don't get scheduled for interview. If you get scheduled for an interview, sometimes it's nothing. Most of the time it's because there's a reason behind it. So those are things you have to factor in, whether your case is going to be scheduled for interview, what field office you're in, if they sent you a request for evidence for your medicals. Those are things that factor into how long it would take. Can I travel while 751 is pending? I just filed N400. As long as you've got your extension notice, the original extension notice, and your 2-year green card with you, you should be fine. I'm not telling you to travel, general information. I'm just telling you there shouldn't be any problem. Okay, let's see. I did my citizenship interview April 13, 2023, and up to now haven't received a letter from USCIS. So what's your question? How long must you be in the state to be a citizen? And you go back and watch this video. That's what we just talked about. Can U.S. citizen file for step parent married legally to bow parent 21 days before? As long as the marriage happened before before turning 18. So as long as marriage happened before turning 18, you're 21, and there is a relationship between you and the step parent. After biometrics appointment based on K1, do you think I can get 10 years green card instead of 2 years? It's not based on your appointment. It's as a K1, you're going to get a 2-year green card. So if you're, let me take that back. If the marriage, which usually it is, if your marriage is still less than 2 years at the time that they approve your 485, then it will be a 2-year green card. If your marriage is over 2 years at the time your I-485 is approved, then you would get a 10-year green card. I'm a pending 751 for 2 years and N400 pending for 3 months. What will happen next? Hopefully the next thing you would hope for will be for them to schedule your N400 interview. Okay. Can someone appeal I-360 denial after immigration officer based denial reason on rental lease agreement? Denial reason is not just based on rental lease agreement. That's not a denial reason for I-360. Your case will probably be denied based on the fact that you have not established your eligibility under paragraphs 4 or 7, which is good faith and or shared residence. So it's not just they highlight or they elaborate on the reasons why they feel you have not provided sufficient evidence. So if you've got additional evidence to support the grounds that your vow was denied on, then and it's still within the time for you to appeal, then you can. But speak to a lawyer and see what your best option is. Okay. My green card renewal was pending and my citizenship was denied 2 years ago. Now they send my card. Okay. Can you apply for N400 while 751 is pending? I'm going to assume that you just joined, but this video is going to be up so you can watch it. That's what we just talked about. My work permit has been pending for over almost 2 years and past the extension days I was given. What is the basis of your work permit? On what basis did you file? What category did you file? Those are questions you need to answer. My spouse has been waiting for their visa for 2 years. What should we do? If they're still waiting for an interview at the embassy, I'm assuming that's what you mean. Some people are being lucky to transfer their case to another embassy as long as you satisfy the requirements to do that. If not, then really it's just a matter of waiting game, unless you've got a ground to ask them to expedite the interview date. Hello, I just came from Sweden to the US, then got married and got a son. What is my status? The fact that you got married or got a son doesn't give you any status. What do you qualify for? If your spouse is a citizen, then they may want to start filing for you, but you guys would need to talk to a lawyer. Got my green card via VA in January 2023. Went to Africa for a month. When can I file for citizenship? Depends on if your abusive spouse was a citizen. Was a citizen. If they were, then you're going to be eligible 90 days before January 2026. Okay. How long is AOS case? How long is AOS cases taken in 2024? Provided you submitted everything at once. It is, first of all, US, processing time is the best resource. Number one. Number two, Everyone's case is different. I've had cases approved in less than 5 months, and I have cases still pending after interview 1 to 2 years. Every field office is different. And then if USCIS decides to waive an interview in your case, then obviously that's going to be a great progress in that case. But it's still the present time that you have to go by. It doesn't mean your case cannot be shorter. I have someone I consulted with today that got married in June of last year, filed their case in July of last year, got their green card in December, no interview. So you just never know with USCIS. But as of this month, as of February 2024, USCIS has, get this, they have about 30 million, not thousand now, 30 million green card applications pending. About 30 million. And then we wonder why there's a backlog. And I think so far this year, they've only, is what about 1 million something? I don't know if it was this year or last year. I'm not really sure. Don't quote me on that. But as of this month, they have about 30 million applications still pending. How long does it take to file for a sibling? Anywhere from 15 to 17 years before they can become eligible to apply to just status or to apply for an immigrant visa. Okay. You're welcome. User 98536. Perfect. No, you're welcome. I just got in the country. How many years do I have to wait to apply for a green card? How many years do you have to wait to apply for a green card? On what basis? Can I file for I-485 if I do not enroll for this semester as F1? On what basis? On what basis will you be filing for I-485? I-485 is a green card application. What would be your basis for filing for that? Okay, let's see. Anything about how long is anything taking, please, like I said, USCIS.gov/present time. That's where you get that information from. 𝐸𝐴𝐴𝐿55, thank you. Okay. Thank you, Pino, for sharing. Thank you to everyone who's sharing on TikTok. Appreciate that very much. Okay, all right, let me go. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to that. What type of questions should we expect as dependents? You guys, if you don't have a lawyer, you want to sit down with the lawyer to at least have an preparation consultation with them. I got my prima facie determination. Congratulations. Can I still pay for psychological evaluation on the VI case? I'm assuming you make, after prima facie determination, can you still go ahead and do a psychological evaluation and submit that? If that's what you're asking, then there's nothing that stops you from doing that. General information, but there's nothing that stops you from doing that. Can I-485 take 17 months to be approved under VALP application? I have not seen, I haven't had any case, knock on wood, since the approval of a VALP petition that took, hello, Miss Stanley, how are you? That took 17 months after the VALP was approved. How's my baby girl doing? How old is she now? She's probably going to be a few months old now. Don't tell me she's 6 months yet, because that will be crazy. My sister-in-law's case is a fiancé visa application in 2019. Case was reaffirmed and moved to NVC in 2023. Reaffirmed for what? Does this reset the adjudication timelines? I have no clue what you're asking me. There's a whole lot of missing information there. Can you please talk about psychological evaluation? Is it needed for VA? I feel more comfortable. There is no set list of evidence, but I'm always more comfortable with psychological evaluation, especially in cases where people do not really have a lot of evidence, because you're talking to someone who is a credible expert witness, and on paper, basically that's what your report will do. And that sometimes I've seen that be enough for an approval. So you never know. Had a Stoke interview for my I-751 over 7 months ago. And oh, thank you for bringing that. Talking about interview. If you file your 751 jointly as a joint petition, right? And you file your citizenship application based on that, pending I-751, and not based on that, but based on the fact that you've now accrued 3 years as a legal permanent resident, and you're still married to a citizen spouse. Please understand that when USCIS sends you your interview notice for your citizenship application, they may not tell you to come with your spouse, but be ready to go with your spouse. Because I've seen them say, well, you didn't tell me to come with my spouse. Yes, but your 751 is pending. If you want us to adjudicate that, which was a joint petition, it makes sense that we expect you to come with your spouse. Sometimes they may not even ask your spouse anything, but the fact that the spouse is ready to come with you, and I've seen them also in the sense of have people come to me and say, hey, I went for my N400 interview. They denied my case because they said I didn't come with my spouse because I have a pending 751, but I wasn't told. It's USCIS. Don't expect much from them. Yeah. Okay, so over 7 months, and USCIS is yet to decide how long does this statutory take. If you divorce while the decision is pending, if you get divorced, then you want to request that they convert your case to a divorce self-petition divorce waiver. The last thing you want to do is to have your green card approved based on a grant you're no longer eligible for, because that's going to present an issue when you file for citizenship. How long it's statutory release? Not listen. There's USCIS is required to make a decision on. Let's talk about statutory release. They're supposed to schedule an interview for an asylum case in 180 days, 6 months. We got people waiting 7, 8 years. So statutorily doesn't work for them unless you sue them and take them to court. Okay. Hello, Miss Pam. Cool. Just 3 days. Cool, 3 days. Thank you. Good to see you here. It's been a while. Hello, Miss Pam. Okay. Let's go to thank you, Miss Ellison. Once again, nationwide representation 334-341-4475. That's our contact information. Okay, let's see. All right. If you have your questions in the question section on Instagram, please put it in the comment section. That is very, very helpful for me. Shako, I'm very new. Shako. I hope everyone has had a great week. My week has been really busy, really crazy. If I tell you guys that I didn't eat anything, I'm not really a breakfast person. So most of the time you're either going to see me with, I make this iced coffee concoction it's not for people who are, if you're healthy and health conscious person, you ain't gonna like it. You miss you with that one. But I am not. I don't know. I'm not someone who likes to work out. All your gym rats, don't come for me. That's just me. I'm not going with God. I'm not like, okay, let me just leave it alone. Let's just leave it alone. But anyway. Let's see. Why so long wait after RFE? That's another question I can answer. What kind of criminal cases do I handle? Anything anyone is charged with, from murder to attempted murder to assault, theft of property, you name it. I got robbery. Cases coming up on Monday. I've got assault, attempted murder, I've got robbery, possession of a controlled substance, receiving stolen property. I've got about 6 cases set for trial next week. I'm hoping, if I'm Badura, that's at least 4 or 5 of them will take a plea because they have great, sweet deals that will be great for them. But yeah, that's so the preparation really kicked into gear this week. You said you went to jail. Are you afraid when you go to jail? No. No. The first year of practice, yeah, because I was getting used to, I wasn't used to it. But there are people. There are people who just made really, really bad decisions. And when you go to court, when we have criminal court dates, you got police officers and sheriffs and all. Everybody has a gun on them, so you get used to it. I guess is what I'm saying. You get used to it. Thank you, Miss Eleanor. Yeah. Okay. 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. Who is that? Soldier. So godly. So that's someone who went to face. 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. That's good. We hold the honesty, loyalty, and discipline. Something. That's why I know it. That's the 𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐀. Yeah, something. Y'all, it's going to be 30 years in July that I graduated from secondary school. 30 years. And yeah, I always try to rub it in. I graduated when I was 15. I tell my kids, like, y'all, I graduated when I was 15. 33 decades. And here we're going to do something. So we'll see. I submitted my RFE since 2023 for a green card. So what's your question? As far as how long it's going to take, first of all, it depends on what the RFE was for. It was for the fact that you didn't have sufficient evidence. That's still, whenever they send you an RFE for bona fide good faith evidence, usually, even though when you respond, sometimes USCIS will deliberately not make a decision because they're going to make an unannounced visit. That's one of the reasons why they, prolong your adjudication. They're going to make an unannounced visit, just come to your place of work, whatever the case may, or start an investigation if for whatever reason they believe that the marriage is not a real marriage. It doesn't mean that you have a sham marriage, but the fact that you respond to an RFE, especially good faith RFE, doesn't mean that it's going to be automatic. Some may be straightforward, but some may just be that they want to take their time to see if they will have anything that's going to contradict the evidence you sent them. Okay. Asylum pending for past 6 years and just got married to U.S. citizen. Prepared to file for adjustment of status to green card. Do I need to cancel my asylum? No. Leave your asylum the way it is. Once you get your green card, then you can write them and tell them you want to withdraw. What are the main documents necessary to submit the N400? If you go on the USCIS page for N400, they have a courtesy checklist for that. That's all she wrote. Okay. My mom overstayed her green card in Nigeria due to COVID. Oh, sorry to hear that. Okay, so what's your question? I was scheduled for my naturalization interview, but do not have my 751 yet. So what's your question? Help me out, people. What's the question? Hello, Miss Stanley. How's my baby girl doing? Hello, Mr. Pascal. How are you? Thank you, Miss Eleanor Sanctuary. USCIS.gov/processing times. That will give you the average time for all applications and petitions. I'm going to leave that alone. Okay. Um, okay. Is requesting for FOIA from DMV a good idea? How much will it cost to request one? I don't know how much it's going to cost to request one. Is it a good idea? I don't know what you want to request that for, so I can tell you whether or not it's a good idea. Yeah, please share, like, and subscribe to YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram at Olala Immigration. We appreciate that. Okay, I think we are. If I renew my E80 now, how much will I pay? To who? Are you talking of the filing fee? It will depend on what basis you are renewing on. What do you have pending? If the DMV mistakenly claimed me as a U.S. citizen in my driver's license application without my knowledge, will I be considered? So you're going to be inadmissible because you cannot falsely claim to be a U.S. citizen. So if that's what you're asking, then you need to clarify that and just make sure you have evidence to prove that that was an error that was not made on your end. I got 45 approved, but green card not produced yet after 75 days. Actually, I have a case like that we've done. So we're in the middle of congressional assistance, letter to them, ombudsman inquiry. If none of that works, then we're going to move forward with suing USCIS. Hello, Ms. Johini. How are you? How long can citizens be outside the U.S.? Is there a time limit? Nope. That's the joy of being a citizen. That's why you've got American citizens who go and live in another country, and then when they're tired, they come back in. That's the joy of being a citizen. How have you been? My mom filed for adjustment of status. It has been approved in Niger, but presently reside in the U.S. You can't file for adjustment of status outside the country, adjust status in the country. So what do you mean, what has been approved? What has been approved in Niger, though, is, but presently, I'm not understanding what you're asking. My children just came into the country on an immigrant visa, and they are minors. They already got their, I'm not sure, maybe you mean, or social security number. I don't know. How do we go about getting their green cards? You should have paid for the green card application fees, and that will be automatically sent to you. If not, then go ahead and pay for you have to pay the application fees for the green card. And then they'll send those to you. Hello, Mr. Calvin. Did you get the email I sent you? Check email. I think it was I know the day before. Listen, don't hold me to anything this week. Yeah. Will I pay $410 now for E80 renewal if I put it in before April 1st? As long, whatever the fees are right now is what you pay. Fees don't go up until April 1st, depending on, and it's still, again, depending on the basis on which you're renewing. Are you renewing based on a pending I-485? If you pay the green card, if you pay the fee in the I-485, you don't have to pay filing fee for the renewal. Filing before April 1st. So on what basis are you renewing? When for I-485 interview based on valid no decision? Yes, still after 11 months there. You're not alone in that. Trust me. Well, I would want to know what questions you were asked, though. My nephew applied for adjustment of status through marriage in December 2021. They got IRA for I-130 in March 2023. It's still actively reviewed till date. There's nothing, I mean, there's nothing I can say about that. Is lease or mortgage required as a supporting document? What if you leave rent free for citizenship? Lease or mortgage is just one of the evidence that you can show good faith or marital union. But if you don't have a lease or mortgage, then there are other documents that you can use to prove your good faith marriage or marital union. Can you help with H-1B? H-1B, I only represent, H-1B is filed by an employer, and I only represent employers when it comes to H-1B application. Now, if you have an employer that wants to petition on your behalf and they don't have an immigration, most H-1B employers already have immigration attorneys. Like I represent universities and one company that's not a school, but that's the employer, because the employer is one filing the H-1B for you. Thank you, Ms. In the Sanctuary. It's a whole lot. Hello, Island Girl. Hard school and work. Hey, listen, that's American life. You didn't miss much, but you can always replay it though. How do I renew my mother's green card that has expired since 2019? File an I-90 form for her. As I hope she's here. If she's here, then you file an I-90 form. If you're not sure what to do, then she's currently in Nigeria. Then since 2018, so did she go to Nigeria? She's been in Nigeria since 2018. Then it's presumed that she's abandoned her permanent residency status. So generally, that's going to pose a problem for her to come in, because you don't want you're required to be here if you're renewing your I-90. But if that's a presumption, she's probably going to be having to apply for an SB1 returning resident visa. So best thing you can do is to sit down with a lawyer to find out your best option. I have asylum pending. Before was a student. In total, I have been here for 10 years. Have kids born here. Can I use the 10 years for residence? So there's this thing called cancellation removal, and that is where you're able to file for a relief in court, but that is only available in court if you've been, one of the requirements is if you've been physically present in the United States for 10 years. In your case, you don't have, unless your asylum pending. When you say asylum is pending, I'm assuming it's pending with USCIS. If that's the case, then you need two things. Either wait for them to schedule you for an interview. Hopefully your case is granted. If it's not granted, they refer you to immigration court. Then you can, because you can only apply for cancellation removal, the 10-year cancellation, based on you being placed in removal proceedings. Or you can actually, once you hit that 10 years, and make sure you have an attorney before you do this, send a letter to the asylum office that has jurisdiction over your case. Tell them that you're waiving interview and to refer your case to immigration court. Once you're placed in court, then you can apply for cancellation removal, as long as you have satisfied all the requirements, to include that if you're not granted the green card, your qualifying relative will suffer extreme hardship. My sponsor is self-employed, so has no pay stubs. Can we just send the tax documents, tax transcript? There's got to be a way that your sponsor gets money. I'm self-employed. I run my own business, but I have proof of income coming in. So what is that proof of income coming in monthly? Even if it's deposits from in a bank account or a profit loss statement, you've got to have something to show that you have income coming in. Is it a problem when you're scheduled for naturalization while your 751 is pending? That's exactly what I just talked about. This video is going to be up, so you can go replay this video. That would answer your questions, your question, and a whole lot more that you probably have. My 765 is out of processing time, and my extension days is over. It's been 2 years. What can I do? Call them. Request help from your senator, congressman, or woman. ombudsman inquiry, and make sure, however, that you filed the right category. That's the first thing the first place you have to start. Did you file the right category for the underlying basis that you're seeking work permit for? So that's where you want to start from. I got my NIW pre-approved. What do you mean pre-approved? Is it approved or not approved? But my priority date is October. I'm currently in OPT, which will expire in June. Please, can I don't remain in the country legally and to continue my work? Okay. Please, can I don't remain in the country legally? You mean how can you remain in the country legally to continue your work? You have to be on a valid non-immigrant status that makes you eligible to work. But when you mean I'm assuming you mean approved. The NIW is the petition itself. If you're waiting for the priority to become current, then that's the green card part of it. But in order for you, so you have two options. Either when you say October of what year? Because USCIS starting in March, they're going to regress to November of 2022. So I'm assuming October of last year. It's a gamble because that's going to be more than a year backlog. So either you have to find a non-immigrant status that you have to convert to, go back to school, or if by some miracle it doesn't take them more than 6 months to get to your priority date, because if you're not out of status for more than 180 days on unemployment base, you still remain eligible. Once you hit that 180 days, then you have to leave the country. Thank you, Alan Gal. Yeah, ask the questions more than once. Yes. I have a pending 751 and my husband wants a divorce. What will be the next thing after the marriage? But I have been in the marriage for 9 years. What will be the next thing after? If he wants a divorce, or if there's something else going on in the marriage, like abuse or anything, then it may be time for you to request to convert to a self-petition. If you don't have a lawyer, talk to one. Okay, let's see. Is it advisable to petition for my parents abroad with my 10 years green card? You don't qualify to petition for parents as a green card holder. I have my green card 2021. Am I eligible to apply for my citizenship? What is the basis? Is it going to be based on marriage? Is it going to be based on what is the basis? Employment? What is it? Divorce? What is the basis? No email from me yet, Mr. Kelvin. Okay, I'll check. Unless it's in my draft, but I can almost, I'll check. So it's okay to attach his bank statements to show income with the tax papers correct, as long as general information, as long as it is proof of the income. For instance, like my firm, we take credit card payments, right? So I can always print out my credit through our third-party credit card processing company. I get statements each month. I can show that as proof of income coming in. So what is that equivalent for him? Then it's going to that librarian program that you have to wait 5 years. Is there any hope with VA after 204C? Actually, for you to be able to get over a 204C, the only option you have is to file something. That's the only way, because the only way you can rebut that allegation or to try to defend yourself is if you've got something pending. So, okay. All right, people. I think we got to most questions. I see a whole lot more questions on TikTok. How much do you charge for preparing? Depends on the interview. I don't have set fees. For every single case starts with a paid consultation. Then I decide whether it's a case I'm going to take or not. So consultation is 30 minutes, 140, 45 minutes to 10, 1 hour to 50. So if you need to schedule consultation, you can go on our website, autolandlawfirm.com, or call us at 334-341-4475. That's how I start any case, and that's when I decide if it's a case I'm going to take. Okay. All right, so your EAD renewal is based on the pending asylum. Right now, it is still 410 before April 1st. So if you're getting in before April 1st, you're still going to be paying 410. Okay. All right, everyone. Can you believe how fast February has gone by? Yes, I mean, see, that's I'll send Miss Ellen Sanctuary. Like January was like forever. January was just like slow. See, February understands the assignment. Like, let's go. Let's go. But listen, we all have. Do you understand how frustrating it can be for someone who practices? I mean, I've got hundreds of clients. So imagine my life each day when someone like Cecilia, it's like, yo, no. So Cecilia needs to have mental wellness too. But the point is, I understand it's frustrating waiting, just waiting without knowing exactly what. And then it gets more frustrating when someone who filed their case at the same time as you gets their green card or their citizenship, and you're wondering, okay, what's going on? So long back with me and all that. But listen, to long back way. There's no one God has forgotten. The only thing is our journeys are going to be different. And I say that all the time, but that's the truth. Our journeys are going to be different. But at the end of it all, if we understand that we have to be, I hate that I have this. If we understand that we have to be patient in this life race, and understand that we cannot, the worst thing you can do for yourself in the middle of all this immigration thing is comparing your case to somebody else's case. Do yourself a favor and let them who rejoice with those who have their cases already. Fine. But understand that you haven't come to this world at the same time. You haven't started, you didn't even come to the country at the same time. You may have filed your cases on the same day, but your paths in life were completely different. So your case is probably not assigned to the same office, not assigned to the same officer. There's a whole lot of things that is completely different from one another. So when someone comes to you and says, hey, kids I was 3 months, that's okay. Tell them you rejoice with them, but you know that God has not forgotten about you, and he's preparing that testimony to be as as magnified as possible, because he's going to complete that which he has started. So let's just hold on. Let's just be patient. That's all we can do at this point. Do what you can in the sense of what you legally can. But when you've explored all your options, just leave it in God's hands. There's nothing we can do better than for ourselves, better than God can. That's the one thing we all have to understand. So just keep on that probe. We come back here each and every time, Tuesdays, Thursdays, to share in one another's joys and testimonies. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.